a topic that is much in the news, and we all want to know whether it is right for the country to have a UCC Uniform Civil Code implemented, or it would do something unwanted, as many from the opposition and certain individuals are calling so. So the UCC, it stands for Uniform Civil Code. It literally, what the words say, a set of uniform codes, a set of uniform laws and regulations which would be applicable to each and every individual of this country of India, without having regard to what religion an individual follows. So this would give to rise to a new question in your mind. Does it mean that right now not every citizen of this country is subjected to same set of laws? Meaning, does it mean that right now citizens are subjected to different sets of laws? You see, the answer is partially yes, partially no. When it comes to criminal matters, the answer is that each and every citizen of this country is subjected to same set of laws, as stated by Article 14 of this Constitution, of Indian Constitution, right to equality, or the equality before law. However, when it comes to personal matters, matters including family, marriage, divorce, succession, adoption, and like matters, in these matters, different religious groups, they are subjected to different set of laws, coded and uncoded. I said coded and uncoded because when it comes to Hindus, we have coded laws, the Hindu code, which came between 1954 and later. We have a set of laws like the Hindu Marriage Act, Hindu Succession Act, and others. So the laws for Hindus, which also include religious communities like Jain, Buddhism, and Sikhism. So for all these four religious communities, we have codes that were codified by the Parliament in its first decade of working. However, when it comes to Muslims, Jews, Parsis, and Christians, the Shariat Act of 1937, that is applicable to these four religious minorities. However, if you look into the Shariat Act, then it basically follows the Sharia. The Sharia is a law for the Muslims, and it is largely uncoded. It is not written, and it is slightly more religiously inclined than you would say what the Hindu laws are. So, in a sense, Hindus right now are Hindus along with Sikhs, Jains, and Buddhism. They are under the codified laws codified by the Parliament, and the Muslims and along with the three religious minorities, they are governed by the Sharia. So the demand is and it's not just that this demand is very recent. Even in the Constitution of India, the Part 4 of the Constitution, the DPSP, Directive Principles of a State's Policy, it also clearly says that the state must endeavor to provide a uniform civil code for all its citizens. I mean, this has been kind of a responsibility upon the state that in time when the conditions are conducive, the state must make endeavor to implement uniform civil code for all its citizens. So this is a demand from the beginning of the independence. However, given the chaotic social conditions at the time of independence, we had this huge separation and then rights following that separation. So it was kind of necessary at that time that we give certain exceptions, certain privileges to religious minorities, so they are not felt threatened in newly developed India, newly created Indian state. So it would say that the inclusion of these provisions, the provision of giving exceptions and privileges to certain religious minorities at that time, it was kind of necessary for that time. However, times have changed now, and this separate set of laws for certain religious minorities. Yeah, I mean, in time you would understand that the real question is about Muslims and Hindus, because these are the two major religious groups. Hindus with a population of around 79% of the country, and Muslims have a population of around 15% of the country. And 15% of 1.4 crore is something very huge, and that's why the real question boils down to these two religious minorities, Hindus and Muslims. And if you look into UCC, then I would say that rather than a being a religious issue, rather than this being an exception, a privilege to Muslims to follow their own religious code, I would say the not implementation of UCC is resulting in a undignified life to many Muslim women. Because what UCC would do is that it would give way to monogamy. Right now in Muslims there is polygamy, and we all know that women are not safe, women are not secured, women are not loved, women are not dignified in polygamy. On the contrary, we have seen the benefits of monogamy in Hinduism, and that's why we implemented monogamy in Hinduism, and that is the goal of implementing UCC, so that monogamy also will be implemented in other religious minorities such as Muslims, Christians, Jews, and Parsis. And apart from the issue of monogamy, the other issue, I mean, there are multiple issues with these personal laws, but I would like to point out a few. And the second issue is of divorce. So when it comes to divorce, in Hindus we have this provision under the CRPC. Now Criminal Procedure Code. Now it is Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita. So under the BNSS, I mean, right now I remember this section from CRPC. So section 125 of CRPC, it provides that in case of divorce, if the woman is unable to maintain herself, then the husband is liable to pay certain amount of money as alimony and maintenance depending upon the scenario. However, this is not the case in Muslims. In Muslims, what happens is that in the case of divorce, the husband is liable to pay certain set of sum to the woman, but only during the iddat period. And the iddat period is normally of 3 months. It extends in case the woman is pregnant to the duration of pregnant. So normally it is just limited to 3 months period, and even the iddat amount is very low, and the courts cannot do anything about it because personal matters, they are out of the ambit of courts. They are governed by the Sharia Act of 1937, means Sharia law, and courts cannot rule into them. I mean, there was a very famous judgment in 1985. 1985, the Shah Bano case, Shah Bano case of 1985, Shah Bano versus Muhammad Ahmad Khan. This was the name of his husband, who was a famous lawyer. So Shah Bano was divorced, and later she filed for maintenance, and High Court and even Supreme Court gave way to her maintenance. However, in 1986, uh, from different sets of pressures that were put upon by especially Muslim communities upon the government of that time, government of Rajiv Gandhi of that time, the government uh, was forced to create a law. The Muslim woman, something like that. I mean, the essence of the law was that the judgment of 1985, the Shah Bano judgment of 1985, was reversed by the Supreme Court, by the government, and Muslim women upon divorce would be subjected to the Shariat. I mean, the condition prior to 1985 was restored. So you see, so I have pointed out two important issues. First, one is of monogamous relationship, and second is of the provision of alimony and maintenance during divorce. So I think these two issues clearly says that, because there are many other issues related to these, and my central theme is that UCC is not just about a religious bickering between two major religions, but it is about giving women a more dignified, a more respectable life. So I think whatever is your opposition to UCC, if you look into this from a women's rights perspective, from women's empowerment perspective, then you would see that UCC is right to have. UCC is something that is very much needed, and we all should strive towards UCC being implemented.